Right, a very good afternoon, everyone who is joining in. Okay. I know Instagram viewers have started. Okay, let's wait a bit longer for our other live stream viewers to join in as well. Okay, very good afternoon, everyone who is joining in for the noontime practice paper session for today. Hope everyone is having a pleasant Friday. In the meantime, if everyone here is unaware, we'll be having a special live stream collab later on this evening at 5:30 with mathematics, where we're doing both English and important English and math concepts. Okay, so if you're interested in joining or finding out about these subjects, feel free to join the live stream. Is available on all social media platforms at 5:30 this evening. All right, 5:30. Okay. If you join in, you stand a chance to win specially curated cheat sheets for both English and math, along with other prizes. So please, if you have time, just swing by, say hi, and who knows, might get something out of it as well. I mean, you're definitely getting something out of it if you join a live stream, but you can get something more out of it if you win the lucky draw and get the prizes. So if you're interested, you can find the link in our bio on both TikTok and Instagram. If you're interested in the live stream session for today later on, for the collab, you can click on the collab scheduled event detail, and then you can register your interest for the event. Okay, so let's wait a little longer as we wait for our other viewers to arrive. Hopefully everyone is having a joyous and peaceful Friday. We are tuning in to the second half of the year already. Time is flying past this year. And it seems like today it's the 19th of July. It's really close to a special day in Singapore, right? Does anyone know what special day is coming up? This Sunday, any school-going children in the chat, any school-going students or viewers in the chat over here, what's happening this Sunday and spilling over to next Monday in your schools? Right, we'll be having Racial Harmony Day. We're celebrating or commemorating Racial Harmony Day on the 21st of July every year. That falls on the Sunday for this year. Okay, so I think in your respective schools, you'll be having some celebrations and also some relevant events regarding Racial Harmony Day on this coming Monday. So you look forward to that. Okay. So Racial Harmony Day will be coming up, followed very quickly by National Day. National Day is always on the 9th of August, just nice on a Friday as well, so you'll get a long weekend. Woo, yeah. I think all of us are excited, especially for our P5 viewers, right? I'm sure our P5 viewers, some of you have already attended the NE show for the NDP rehearsal. Hope you've had a great time at the NDP rehearsal with all the fireworks, as well as the different floats and different performances on display. Right, and then once National Day is done, we just have a couple weeks more before we conclude Term 3, right? So Term 3 is always a very short term because it's punctuated by holidays such as Youth Day, Racial Harmony Day, you have National Day, and at the end of Term 3, you always end it off with Teachers' Day, right? So it's always a short term, and that's where we gather our materials, gather our revision items to get ready for Term 4 when we finally close off the year. Okay, so I hope everyone is having a good and peaceful Term 3 so far in school. Okay. So before we get started today, maybe I can introduce the practice paper we'll be taking a look at. Today we're taking a look at the practice paper from the P5 level. Today we're taking a look at practice paper at the P5 level. From P5, maybe it's a bit small, let me write it bigger. P5 WA2 2023. Taken from Rosyth School. Okay. Rosyth School has had a notorious reputation for setting tricky papers. This is no exception. And at this point of the chat, at this point of the live, you might be thinking, P5 WA2, that seems a bit too simple, right? Do you think can actually go through this paper and the questions here? Hang on to that thought, alright? As you'll go through the questions later on, I can promise you they're anything but simple. There are some questions that might stumble, even those of us who might feel confident in our language abilities. Okay? So this is a testament not only to the school's standard of paper setting, but also about the rising standard of English expectations we have for our students moving forward as well. Okay, so I hope everyone is ready to get started. Keep your eyes and ears open as we go through the questions. Along the way, if you have any questions or clarifications, please do not hesitate to fill in the chat over here so that you can respond to them timely. Before we get started, I hope everyone has their writing materials. I think it would be great if you have some writing materials at hand, maybe a pen or paper. If you have some rough paper, that would be great. If you have a notebook, that would be even better, right? So you can collate all of your language notes, English notes in one place for very concise revision notes. So let's get started with our first question. First question is a question testing you on tense. Our neighbor asked us whether we blank our missing cat in the vicinity recently. What we have in this question, we have two verbs, right? Asking and then the blank over here. Based on the options, we see saw, had seen, have seen, were seeing. They are all verb tenses. Variations of the word see, right? That's the main verb we're looking at. So we know we're looking at the verb see over here. Okay. Based on what we understand from the sentence over here, we have two actions. We have asking and seeing, right? Everyone can follow at this point the main actions of these sentences. Verbs or actions. Now, between asking and seeing, which happened first? Yes, okay, thank you very much, user 436-583. Great. Okay. Pretty familiar. I also have a student who'd like to say yes, sir, as well. Okay. Asking and seeing, which happened first? Did the act of asking or did the act of seeing happen first? Right. Whether or not we saw the missing cat happen first, only after did the neighbor ask us did we see it or not. Okay, so see happened before asking. Okay, everyone can follow the timeline of the arrow over here, which happens first. Okay. So now let's translate that to our tenses, right? In the verb tense of the sentence over here, ask is in the past tense. Okay. Anyone here disagrees? Anyone thinks that we're looking at a different tense over here? Okay. Great. Okay, thank you very much for the responses. So let's take past, push it back by one tense. Okay, we push it back because we're looking at an action that took place before ask. We push back past simple past tense by one tense. We get past what? An action that took place before the past tense is in the past perfect tense. Okay. Past perfect. Close past participle. Past participle is the form of the word. Past perfect is the tense of the word. Okay. For example, among our options here, seen, right? Seen is the participle, but the tense is the past perfect. Okay. So among the options over here, when you look for an answer that satisfies the past perfect tense. We had saw, had seen, have seen, were seeing. That would be option 2. Had seen. Okay, so well done for those who have gotten it right. Have seen over here. Have over here is in the present perfect tense. Then were seeing, saw were all in the past tense. Okay. Were seeing is what tense? Seeing over here tells us it's continuous. Oops, let me spell this right. But also combined together with the past action. Okay, so an action that took place in the past. Does that answer our questions? On to question 2. Question 2 is a tricky one. It tests us on conditional. How do you identify a conditional sentence? Look out for the if. If something, then something. Right? So that is a condition. Okay. To be even more precise, this is not just any conditional sentence. This is what we call the third conditional sentence. Oops. Third conditional. Okay. At this point, I foresee there are stars swimming all over your head over here, all around your heads. What is third conditional? Is there a first, second, fourth conditional? Okay. Good question. Are there different numbers of conditional? Okay. In this case here, let's have a better understanding of what conditionals are, right? In order to answer the question, you understand the rule first. In order to do so, let's look at our TikTok page. Our answer lies in TikTok. If you were to open up our TikTok page on the bio over here, you'd see something like this. Oh, maybe I tilted a bit slightly for the lighting. If you go to our TikTok page, you'll see something like this at the corner, right? So go to our TikTok page. If you click on the link tree over here, it'll bring you to these links over here, where you can find this answer is located in the shop. Okay, just to preface, I'm not going to sell you anything. I'm not trying to get you to buy anything. Just the shop over here. Scroll all the way to the bottom. You have the 5 cheat sheets at the bottom. Open up. Look at the top red dot over here. This is a cheat sheet containing different conditional statements. Okay, so this cheat sheet along with the other 4 are all available for free, public access on our link tree. So please feel free to go ahead, check out these cheat sheets that are available for you to join also. Okay. If you have another mobile device with you, feel free to scroll over, check out our link tree or the TikTok bio to access this page together with me. Okay. So I'll be clicking on this over here, where we'll be directed to an article on our website. Okay, so all these articles are available on our writer's blog on our website. Again, available for public. Okay. We have 4 types of conditional sentences. Conditional sentences come in 4 different types, each requiring the correct structure to convey specific meaning. It is crucial to pay attention to verb tense when paying attention to verb tense when looking at these various conditional modes. There are 4 types such as third, second, first, 0. Okay, so unfortunately there's no 4th, 5th, 6th conditional. We start from third all the way to 0. Okay. Let's look at third conditional. Third conditional is what we're looking at for this question over here. Okay, this question over here is third conditional. Third conditional sentences help us talk about how things would have been different if something had happened differently in the past. For instance, if you had told me you needed a ride, I would have left earlier in these sentences. We use the past perfect if clause and a modal auxiliary verb with have in the main clause. It's important not to mix up these structures over here. For example, don't say, if I clean the house, I could go to the movies. Instead, use the corresponding verb form. If I had cleaned the house, I could have gone to the movies. Sample question. If I had known that Jacob was hospitalized, I blank him today. If I had known, I would have visited today. So again, matching the modal auxiliary verb have to the conditional of had known. Okay, this is from 2023 prelim from Primary Stella. Same thing also for Taonan School. If I had blank, it was your birthday, I would have brought you a gift. So again, past perfect known over here, followed up by the modal auxiliary verb have brought you a gift. Okay. Now let's go back to the question over here. If the man had hesitated, the child what? Okay. The child what? Okay. After going through the article, what should go in over here? It should be the modal auxiliary verb of have. So let me fill this in. This will be the, let's go by the rules that we see on the page. We have the past perfect in the if clause. Okay, past perfect in the if clause, right? If you have the past perfect in the if clause, it needs to be followed by a modal auxiliary verb have in the main clause. So that would be over here. You need would have in this. Okay, so step by step, we slowly use this to find our answer, which matches option 4. Okay. So well done to user 436 once again getting the right answer. Well done. Okay. For the others as well, if you have any questions or you think you have the answer, you know how to find the answer, please feel free to drop it in the chat and we'll test you if you got it right or not. Okay, so well done for getting it right. This is a third conditional sentence. However, if there are other questions in the second, first, and zero conditional, as you can see later on in the article over here, can browse through it at your own reading pleasure. Okay? It's all available on our website for public access for free. Okay, so you don't have to pay anything, you don't have to sign up, you don't have to log in, just click on it. On to question 3. The boy blank the principal praised is my neighbor. The boy blank the principal praised is my neighbor. This is a question testing you on your subject-verb agreement. Subject-verb agreement. Here we're looking at a relative pronoun. What is a relative pronoun? Okay, think about it. You have a relative, right? Relatives like your family, your loved ones. You are related to them, right? So a relative pronoun introduces additional information about the topic. Okay, to introduce something that's related to, that is additional on. Okay. Usually students can reach the answer of who or whom, but that's where they tend to struggle, right? They get a bit confused when they use who, when they use whom. Is there a way we can find a cheat sheet or an answer? Okay, so if you're unsure how to use who or when you use whom, you can again find it on our website. Okay. Again, all of this is publicly available, so please feel free to browse them through by your own. Okay, so instead of navigating to it through TikTok, let me try to find the correct page using just the website itself. Okay. So let me go back to the website's homepage over here. How do I find articles about grammar usage, right? Because this is the grammar MCQ section. I go to the, open up the menu bar over here. Okay, this is on the mobile format, mobile view. But if you can open this up on your tablet or your computer, you can also see the same thing as well. Open up the menu bar, go to Writers at Work block over here. Okay, block. Okay, click on the block. You'll see many categories. All of them contain articles. Okay, but the one that will be relevant to this will be the grammar section. Yes, because this is the grammar MCQ. So click on grammar. Open up, you'll see a list of articles over here, including, just now we talked about conditional sentences. This is available on the blog. Okay, this is how you can find it just by navigating on the blog. Oops. Okay, this is where you can find the conditional sentences. However, we're looking at who and whom. So that will be the first article actually. When do we use who? When do we use whom? Okay, so click on it. It will bring you to open up this article over here. When deciding who or whom, remember this simple rule. Replace the word with he or she, use who. If you can replace it with him or her, use whom. Use who when referring to the subject of a sentence. Use whom when referring to the object of a verb or a preposition. Okay. What does this mean? Okay, so let's go back to the question. We are looking at question 3. What does it mean to use the object of a verb, object of a preposition? In this case here, the preposition we're looking at is praise. Okay. So let me take this down. Praise is the verb we're looking at over here. The subject is the one that carries out this action, this verb. Okay. So the subject is the one that does the praising, who carries out this action. Who does the praising in this sentence over here? Who is the one doing the praising? It's the principal, right? The principal is the one doing the praising. The object then refers to the one that receives the action, the one that receives or undergoes the action. Who is the one being praised over here? The one being praised is the boy. Okay. Everyone can follow so far? Okay. So in this case over here, since we're referring to the boy who is the object, we should be using whom. Okay? Yes, so good job for those who have gotten it right. We are using whom over here. So that would be option 3. Okay. So once again, the rule we should take note of: use who if you're introducing additional information about the subject. Use whom if you're introducing additional information about the object. Okay. Any questions over here? Okay. Alright, so that is how we've derived our answer for question 3. If you missed out on the explanation or if you joined it late, no worries, you can continue reading the article over here that provides the same explanation that I just did about when do we use who, when do we use whom. Once again, it is available on our website for public access. Okay, don't need to sign up, don't need to log in. Okay, right, so that would be it for my phone. On to question 4. Question 4, John, together with his parents, blanked the party this weekend. This can be a pretty tricky question if you're not careful with it. Why is it pretty tricky? Because what we have over here, John together with his parents, is what is known as a compound subject. What is a compound subject? That is your question over here. Think about it, right? In science, you learn that insects have compound eyes, many small eyelets that make up one big eye. Okay, so same thing also, compound subject is many small subjects that make up one big main subject over here. And in this case, we're looking at the subject, John with his parents. How do you go about solving or finding the correct verb tense for subject-verb agreement for compound subjects? If you have the together with a very useful trick that can help you is to strike out everything that follows after. Ignore the secondary subjects over here. We only want to focus on the main one, who is John. Okay, John will be the only subject we're using for our reference over here. So this question tests you on subject-verb agreement. John blanked the party this weekend. Okay. John blanked the party this weekend. What is the correct verb usage here? John blanked the party this weekend. Since this weekend tells us something that takes place in the present, something that will be happening, we can use the present tense. Oops. Right, it wasn't last weekend, it's this weekend, so it's something that will be happening in the present. And hence, we'll be using option 1, is attending the party this weekend. Any questions here? Right. Finally, question 5. Question 5 tests you on your conjunction usage, okay? Not too tricky, but we need to keep our eyes sharp here. Conjunction use. The athlete decided to compete in the race, blank, his knee was injured. The athlete decided to compete in the race, blank, his knee was injured. Now put yourself in this athlete's shoes for a minute. You have two clauses over here, deciding to compete, injured knee. If your knee was injured, would you decide to compete in a race? Would you do so? Odds are, I'd say you would not. Why? Because if you compete in a race, you might inadvertently end up aggravating the injury, making it worse, right? At the same time, since you're already injured, you cannot race in your peak condition. It will be difficult for you to win or to achieve your target because you're not running at the best of your abilities. Okay? So it seems not a really wise decision to decide to compete in the race over here. Most of us will decide not to compete. They will drop out entirely. However, the athlete did something that was unexpected, right? So what he did over here is unexpected. Or rather something that's contrary to common sense or contrary to expectations. So among these 4 conjunctions, the conjunction that you should be using over here to introduce an unexpected or perhaps unforeseen reason or an unforeseen result would be option 4. Okay, yes, option 4, although. So well done for those who have gotten it right. Use although over here to indicate when you're introducing a clause over here that's unexpected or contrary to expectations set out by the initial clause in the sentence. Any questions from our chat regarding question 5? Okay. Otherwise, are there any other questions on the first set of 5 questions we've gone through for today's paper? Okay, if there are no questions, please feel free to take down the notes or take a screenshot, but at the same time, I would recommend you that after the live stream or in your own time, take down the notes by hand as well, because studies have shown that memorization, by writing it out by hand, it forces your brain to encode, internalize what the lessons you have learned from writing it out. So if you cannot write fast enough, it's fine. At your own time, at your own pace, take a screenshot of this and then write it out by hand in your foolscap paper, your rough paper, or ideally in a jotter book or notebook where you have all your notes compiled for your reference and revision. Okay. Alright. Okay, so let's move on. Moving on, we'll be taking a look at our vocab questions. For those who are just joining in who haven't been in for the initial part of our live stream over here, we're looking at P5 WA2 from Rosyth School back in 2023. You might think of WA2 from P5 is too simple or too easy, but trust me and trust the other viewers who have been here since the start. They know that this paper is anything but simple, right? We've already gone through quite a few difficult questions already. And the vocab section will be no exception as well. For vocab, we have a total of 10 questions, just like grammar. In your year-end papers, especially in PSLE, you have 10 vocab and 10 grammar MCQ questions separately. Just like grammar, there will be fill-in-the-blank grammar vocab questions, right? You'll be given a short sentence, and then you'll be asked to fill in the blank in the sentence with the appropriate word or phrase. And there will be a total of 5 marks. Now you may be thinking, hang on, the math isn't mathing here. You say there are 10 grammar marks for fill in the blank. How come vocab only have 5 fill in the blank marks? Well, that is where there is a slight difference over here. 5 marks for vocab MCQ will go to fill in the blank. The remaining half of the marks will go into substitution questions. Substitution questions are replacement questions where you'll be asked to replace a given word in the sentence or a given phrase in the sentence with one of the options presented to you. Okay? So you have to replace the underlined word in the sentence. Let's get started on the first question. Question 6. As Darren made his way to the stairs in the dark, the blank of the shadow puppets cast on the wall earlier flooded his mind. The blank of the shadow puppets cast on the wall earlier flooded his mind. Okay. Before we start, maybe you can drop in your answers in the chat. Which do you think is the correct answer for question 6? Okay, we have 4 very similar words over here, all relating to a visual element of sight. Okay. Starting off with views. Views normally can be used talking about scenery of a location. Okay. It's meant to be taken literally, right? We enjoyed the view once we reached the top of the mountain or the hill. Okay, so we enjoyed the view. Views can also be used to express opinions. Okay. In my view, students should have less homework. Right? Sorry, unintentional. In my view, or in my opinion, I think students should have less homework. I think school hours should be shortened. Okay? So in your opinion. Images, however, are slightly different. Images refers to either screen captured views or even mental images, images that flash through your mind. Okay. If you close your eyes, you can picture an image of your favorite food or maybe your parents, so that's a mental image in your mind, a memory that you can look back on. A scenario is a hypothetical or an imaginary situation. In the scenario that the teacher is unwell, a relief teacher will be taking the class. So an imaginary situation. And finally, photographs. Photographs are the literal products from a camera. In the past, there were film cameras where you can develop them out and then you get to hold on to photographs, but now you'll be taking photographs that are digital on your mobile devices. Okay? So literal pictures over here. So now we're looking at a word that fill in the blank about shadow puppets flooding his mind. Okay? So do these pictures happen in reality? Are these pictures that he can physically touch and hold? Not quite, right? These are just pictures that are playing out in his mind. Okay? So that would be the closest match for option 2, images. Okay? So if you've gotten it right, you can give yourself a pat on the shoulder, give yourself a tick for getting the right answer over here. Okay, on to question 7. Determined to win, the athlete sprinted blank towards the finishing line with all his might. Okay, so what we need over here is an adverb that fits the sentence. We have casual, forceful, sluggish, and vigorous. How do we use them in a sentence? Something that is casual is something that's in a relaxed manner. Something that is relaxed, not taken seriously. For example, in a relaxed or in a not serious manner. For example, you could say having conversations, chatting with my friends in school. We are chatting casually in a casual manner, right? To relax, not have to chat seriously, to speak to each other seriously. Forcefully is to do something with great strength. For example, the angry boy slammed open the door forcefully, or slammed the door forcefully with a lot of strength. Okay. Sluggish, you see slug, you think of the animal, right? The slug. How does the slug move? Quickly? Probably not. Okay. So sluggish refers to lethargic or slow movement. Slow, tired movement. And finally, vigorous. Vigorous talks about carrying out an action with strength. And not only with strength, but also with a certain intention or purpose in mind. Let's go back to the sentence over here. Determined to win, the athlete sprinted blank towards the finishing line with all his might. First off, all his might. What does this tell us about the nature of his action over here? Okay, Brian has an answer in. Let's see for the others as well. All his might tells us that he's putting in a lot of effort into running over here. So we can safely eliminate options 1. Because he's not relaxed, he's definitely taking it seriously, right? So he's sprinting with all his might. Definitely not option 1. Not option 3 either, because he's not slow or tired. He's running with all his might. Now between options 2 and 4, they both talk about strength. How do we differentiate the two? Okay. Vigorously requires an additional element of purpose, intention. Is the athlete sprinting with a certain purpose or goal in mind? Read the sentence again. Is there a specific reason or purpose that makes the athlete sprint with all his might? He was determined to win. Yes, I'm broke or less than 3, whichever you prefer me to call you by. He was determined to win. So that is the purpose he needed. He needed to sprint with all his might. So the closer match over here would be vigorously, option 4. Okay. Forcefully and vigorously are pretty close over here, but vigorously has the edge because there's a very clear reason given to you in the sentence. Okay. So that is how you slowly break down your options over here by the process of elimination and select the closest answer to match the blank. Any questions? Okay, so well done vigorously for well done Brian and I'm broke for getting the right answers. Question 8. Eager to find out how to use the new camera, mother studied the manual closely to blank how the features would work. What we have over here are 4 phrasal verbs. 4 phrasal verbs to use in the sentence over here. Okay. 4 phrasal verbs. What do each of these mean? Okay. Firstly, make up. Okay. To make up is to come up with a lie. To make up a lie. Come up with usually a lie or an excuse. Okay. For example, I made up an excuse to skip CCA practice this afternoon. Right? So to make up is to lie, to come up with. To look over. To look over is to review something briefly. Okay. To review briefly. Number 3, to figure out. To figure out is to try to understand or to comprehend. Okay, to figure out, to understand or to comprehend, to make sense of a situation. And finally, to break down. To break down physically can mean to dismantle. It could also mean to analyze a situation. Okay, to unpack a situation here. For example, we had a pretty difficult question. However, we are slowly breaking down the question over here, right? Slowly breaking and analyzing it. Analyze how something works. Or it could also be referring to a breakdown as in a loss of composure. Okay. For example, the lady broke down after hearing the bad news, so to lose your composure. Okay. So among these 4 descriptions over here, which do you think has the closest match of understanding the features of the camera? Okay. Alright, so I see some answers from Brian, I'm broke, and Praction, if I'm pronouncing it right, Praction, with option 3, figuring out. And yes, that is correct. So well done, Brian, I'm broke, and Praction for getting the right answers. To figure out how the features would work. Okay, so well done for scoring the right answers. Question 9. Question 9, we have a list of idioms over here. Our job is to unpack and analyze what do these idioms mean. Also, it means to break down the idioms over here. What are idioms? Idioms are short phrases that are meant to be taken figuratively, common sayings. Firstly, we have throw in a towel. To throw in a towel is to give up or to surrender, to admit defeat. Alright, viewers in the chat, understand that we are excited to share our answers, but once is enough, alright? We don't need echoes over here. Okay, so to throw in a towel is admit defeat or to surrender. To get the ball rolling is to get started. Okay, to get the ball rolling is to get something started. To give the game away. To give the game away is to reveal a secret. Okay. For example, we were planning a surprise birthday party for my dad, but my sister gave the game away when she asked him for his favorite birthday cake flavor. So to give the game away is to reveal a secret. Okay. Finally, to keep their eye on the ball is to focus or to concentrate. To concentrate on an activity over here. Okay. So now let's take these definitions and go back to our sentence. Our soccer team refused to blank, and all the players played to the best of their ability till the end of the game. Okay. So the players played to the best of their ability to the end of the game. This tells us that they were still in the game, they still have a very strong fighting spirit. If they have a very strong fighting spirit, that also means that they refuse to admit defeat, they refuse to give up. So that would be option 1, to throw in the towel. Okay, so well done, Brian, Prakshan, and I'm broke once again for getting the right answers. Okay. And Edwin, thank you very much for the follow. Okay. If you are interested or if you are feeling up to the challenge, try out the next question together with us. All right. Okay, feel free to drop in your answers at in the chat. Final question for our vocab fill in the blanks. It took a little girl all her strength to blank the heavy door wide open. To blank the heavy door wide open. Let's look at our verb usage over here. We have 4 verbs all relating to a certain element of strength, putting in a great deal of strength to carry out this action. How do you use them over here? Okay. Firstly, to hurl. To hurl is to throw with a lot of effort. Okay. To hurl is to throw something heavy with a lot of effort. Okay. For example, what is heavy? Could say the bully was behaving badly and hurled a stapler towards his classmate. Okay, so again, that is bad behavior, but to throw something with a lot of effort, a lot of strength. Toss. To toss is to throw as well, but to throw with slightly less effort. Okay, I tossed the rubbish into the rubbish bin. So to toss is to throw with less effort. So a slight difference over here. To hoist. To hoist is to carry something heavy. For example, many of you will have to hoist your school bags to school every day. Carry something heavy. And finally, for. For is to push forcefully. Okay. If you enjoy playing rugby, you need to shove your opponents out of the way. Right? So to shove is to push forcefully. So in this case over here, let's look at the question. Little girl is using all her strength to blank the heavy door. I'm sure little girl is very strong, but is she throwing the heavy door? Probably not, right? She's not superhuman. So Options 1 and 2 aren't really the case. Is she carrying the heavy door? Is she lifting it up? Not quite as well. Okay, so that leaves us, by the process of elimination, only with option 4 to shove it open wide, to shove it wide open. Okay, so well done Praction, well done. I'm broke for getting the save right at the end over there with the right answer. Okay, well done. Okay. For Edwin, if you're still in the chat, if you're still in the stream, if you manage to get the right answer, also give yourself a pat on the shoulder. Well done getting it right. Okay? As well as for all the other viewers who did not manage to get in their answer in time. If you got it right, great job. If you got it wrong, it's good as well, because this is a learning opportunity for you to understand where your blind spots are and to correct them moving forward. Okay, so getting it wrong is just as valuable as getting it right. Okay. Any questions about our vocab fill in the blanks thus far? Okay, so once again, if you need to take a screenshot, go ahead and do so, but I recommend that you take it down by hand once you have the time to do so. Okay, now we move on to our final section for our noontime live stream. Okay, in the interest of time, we will be looking at this section to end off. This section will be taking a look at trains. Okay. Specifically, we'll be looking at the Purple Line in Singapore. Does anyone know what is the proper name of the Purple Line? What's the actual name of the Purple Line? We're looking at the Purple Line of the MRT. Its actual name is called the Northeast Line. Why is it Northeast? It stretches all the way from Punggol in the northeast all the way down to the Central Business District. Now, the Northeast Line is significant in Singapore for many reasons, one of which it is Singapore's first subterranean subway system. Okay. Subterranean, that means underground. In the present, we have many other train systems that are underground, such as your Circle Line, your Thomson East Coast Line, and your Downtown Line. But back at its inception, the Northeast Line was the first of its kind. Okay. It also holds many other records, not just within Singapore. The Northeast Line is the world's first fully automated and driverless mass rapid transit line, opening in 2003. Plans for the Northeast Line were first conceived in the 1980s and 90s. It was quite challenging for the project team to come up with a plan for an automated railway that could carry thousands of people every day. So the first question we need to look at is question 11. We need to replace the word come up with. Let's direct our eyes down to the bottom of the page over here. Okay, let me leave the highlighter. Let's look at the bottom of the page over here. We have 4 options to detect, devise, disclose, and to discover. How do we use them over here to replace the word come up with? Okay. Take a guess. Which of these 4 do you think matches the answer? Okay. Firstly, to detect. To detect is to identify. Right? If you have a motion detector helps to identify any movement around you. To devise is to use to create. Normally, it's used to create a plan. Devise a plan. To disclose is to reveal information. And then to discover, as you all know what discover means, to find something that already exists. So among these 4 options, the one that best matches the idea of coming up with a plan, starting a plan from scratch, is option 3, to disclose Oh, sorry, option 2, to devise a plan for an automated railway line. Any questions? Why is it option 3? Option 2? Alright, so chugging along to paragraph 2. Firstly, the operational master plan was developed. Next, the team looked into how the rail system could operate and whether things would turn out as what had been planned and designed. So we need to replace the word look into over here. Again, we have a phrasal verb to look into. Okay? So what we're looking for is the idea of studying, trying to study to understand if things would turn out as expected. Down to the 4 options on question 12. To survey, is to carry out a brief check. For example, the teacher surveyed how many students came to school by car, how many students came to school by walking. Okay, so to carry out a brief check. To inspect, an inspection is a visual check. For example, if any of you have attended the NDP National Day Parade when you're in P5, at the start of the parade, there's a parade inspection by the parade commander, right? They walk around, check everyone is standing at attention, and inspection by carrying out by their signs of sight. To examine is to study a problem closely. That's why all of you have to take your examinations over here. The examinations are testing you if you've understood what you have learned, to study you closely. And finally, to scrutinize. To scrutinize means to check closely. To find mistakes. For example, after I was done with my work, I scrutinized every answer to make sure there were no careless mistakes. Okay, to check carefully. So now among these 4 over here, which of these verbs best carry the idea of looking into how the rail system should operate and whether things would work out as expected? In this case here, it's not just a brief check, right? They're not just checking it casually. It's not just a matter of checking with your eyes, but rather understanding how it works, how the machine works. And that will be closest match with option 3, examine. Okay, well done, I'm broke. Okay, for getting the right answer. Okay. And for the others as well, I hope you have gotten the right answer along the way. Before moving on to the next question, back to the paragraph. How the rail system should operate and whether things would turn out as what had been planned and designed. One of the more difficult tasks was to find out how to take care of passengers without a driver. Here we need to replace the word difficult. Okay. Let's shift our eyes up slightly. Peekaboo at the top. Okay, question 13. Question 13, we need to replace the word difficult with arduous, laborious, strenuous, and demanding. Okay. Something that's arduous, something that requires a great amount of physical effort. Arduous is something that requires a lot of physical effort. Laborious also requires effort but refers to an activity that is tedious or repetitive. For example, if you keep doing corrections for your work, that can be laborious to do corrections. Because it's repetitive, it is tedious. Strenuous means something that is exhausting or tiring. After running for my 1.6 in my NAPFA fitness test, it was a strenuous task. It was exhausting, it was tiring. And finally, option 4, demanding. Something that is demanding is something that requires skill or effort. For example, the exam paper was demanding. Many students struggled with it because it requires a high degree of skill or knowledge. It was a demanding test paper, you could say it like this. So based on these 4 meanings, let's go back to our sentence. One of the more difficult tasks was to find out how to take care of passengers without a driver. Is there an element of physical fatigue over here? Does it require physical effort or repetition? Not quite, right? Rather, it's about figuring out this problem, this dilemma of taking care of passengers without the driver. Okay, so by process of elimination, you can also come up with the answer of option 4. It was demanding. Okay, so well done. Again, once again, well done. I'm broke for getting the right answer. Hence, the Northeast Line became the first line to have cameras installed in the trains. Okay, so now we need to look at the word installed. As we are reaching the end of the passage, we need to replace the word installed. Once again, peekaboo at the top. We have 4 options from question 14. Fix, offer, supply, and implement. Okay. To fix something in place is to attach to place. Okay. While to implement is to put a plan into action. For example, over the June holidays, I implemented my study schedule or my study timetable to put a plan into action. To fix is to fix something in a physical position or a place. For example, my eyes were fixed on the net as I shot the basketball towards it, to fix something to a place. Here we're looking to replace the word install, right? What does it mean to install? To install is to put something in a place, right? When you're moving to a new house or your house is broken down, you install a fan, install an air conditioner to put something into a place. Okay. So since you're putting something into a place, to put something in place is to fix it to place. Okay, right, so well done, I'm broke for getting the right answer. And as we move on to our final question of the passage. In addition, a strong operations control center which had the capability to supervise, monitor, and control the operations needed to be built. Once this was established, it forms the basis of all other automated systems subsequently. Okay. So we need to replace the word capability over here. Let's look at the 4 options at the top. Okay. What do each of these answers mean over here? What do you understand from each of these options? Firstly, skills are abilities that are learned. If you go to school, you learn skills, right? You learn hard skills such as how to do math, how to do science. You also learn soft skills like how do you interact and communicate with your fellow friends. So abilities that are learned are known as skills. Means refer to abilities or the ability to carry out a task, to complete a task. the potential. Potential refers to a natural ability that is unfulfilled, that hasn't come true yet. For example, if the teacher says every one of you has the potential to be the top student, that means all of you have the innate ability to become a top student, but you need to work hard to get to that stage. Okay, you haven't become a top student yet, you need to work hard to get there. So that's potential. Finally, proficiency refers to an expertise or high degree of skill and knowledge in a specialized area. For example, you could say, I'm proficient in English but not my mother tongue, right? So I'm just very good in one language but not the other. Okay, I'm proficient. Going back to the question, we have this passage about the capability to supervise, monitor, and control operations. Firstly, supervise, monitor, and control are these abilities that can be learned. Are there abilities that the building can go to learn in a lesson? Not quite, right? These are skills that are picked up on. Let's see over here. We are looking at who is the one that is doing the supervision, monitoring, and controlling. It is the operations control center and the people within it, right? In order to gain these skills, they need to experience it on the job. Okay? So skills isn't really quite the close match we're looking for. How about potential? Having the natural ability that is unfulfilled yet. Does the operations control center, does a building made out of bricks have a natural inborn ability? Does a non-living thing, a building over here, have a natural ability? Not quite, right? You wouldn't really compare. That seems like a more human characteristic. So that wouldn't be the case over here. So now we start with options 2 and 4, means and proficiency. How do we use them in this sentence over here? Okay. Proficiency refers to expertise in a specialized area, just one special area. However, the control center needs to be good in supervising and monitoring and controlling. So 3 different aspects of it. Okay. So in this case here, because it's in more than one area, proficient would not be enough to capture the idea. We're just looking at option 2, means, having the ability to complete a task. What task do they need to complete? To supervise, monitor, and control. So that leads us to your answer for question 15. Any clarifications or any disagreements over here how we've gotten our answer? Okay, right. And with that, I think we've come to the end of our noontime session. I think I spilled over slightly by a minute, so I apologize for taking your time out of it. But thank you very much for everyone who has joined in for our noontime session. Stay tuned, we'll be back after the break at about 2:30 or so. We'll be continuing with the second half of this paper looking at grammar close passage. Okay, we have the grammar close to go through later on for our afternoon session, so stay tuned for that. Okay, and as always, if you're interested, we are looking at Rosyth School P5 WA2 2023. Otherwise, thank you very much for joining. I'll see you all later on in the afternoon. Have a good Friday. Bye-bye. Have a good lunch, take a short break. I'll see you all later. Bye-bye.